former D.C. police officers have now been sentenced for their role in the death of a man in a scooter crash back in 2020.
DC News Now's Daniel Hamburg joining us live outside the federal courthouse in Northwest. And Daniel, tell us about what these former officers were sentenced to.
Susan, Chris, both Officer Terrence Sutton and Lieutenant Andrew Zabarski were both sentenced to 4 years for each count of conspiracy to obstruct justice and obstruction of justice. As for Sutton's second-degree murder charge, he was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. Now, this all runs concurrently, so in total, Zabarski will face 4 years behind bars, and Sutton is facing 5.5 years behind bars. Now, let's take you back to October 2020 when this first happened. Prosecutors say officers spotted Karan Hilton Brown driving a moped on a sidewalk. They say Officer Terrence Sutton followed him for 10 blocks through the Brightwood Park neighborhood and into an alley. And when Hilton Brown turned off of the alleyway, he was hit by another car. He died from those injuries 2 days later. Now, a jury found Sutton had conscious disregard for an extreme risk of death or serious bodily injury, and also that he and Lieutenant Zabarski conspired to hide what happened. Right after the verdict, we talked with Hilton Brown's mother, who you'll hear from first, and then from Sutton's attorney.
How can you not put value on my child's life? He sat there, he scolded them, he knew they were wrong. You're convicted of murder. If this was reversed, if this was a black man, he'd have been locked up.
This is the most unjust prosecution and sentence that I've ever experienced. And I have always respected this judge, but I'm deeply disappointed.
Now, the attorneys for the former officers say they do plan to file an appeal. They have 14 days to do so. In the meantime, the judge released them pending that appeal. Live in Northwest, Daniel Hamburg, DC News Now.